Over and over again, we find ourselves at odds with our family, our co-workers, children, and even ourselves. When times get hard, or a particular situation gets hard, we find ourselves trying to talk ourselves out of that thing instead of talking ourselves through it. I find that we are quick to speak death to anything. If we are given an assignment, we are quick to say, I can't do that. Or if you're in a relationship, or you're in a relationship or marriage, and you hit a trouble spot, the man will say, she ain't doing her job. And the woman say, well, he ain't doing what he's supposed to do. Or if your child or your children have some characteristics of their mother or father, you find yourself telling them, you're just like your mother. You just like your father. And you don't mean it in a good way. Why? Because there's bad blood between the two of you. Don't you know that when you speak all of that negativity, death, it will begin to reside within our spirit? If any of you were ever talked down to as a child or grew up in an abusive home, what did those words do to you? Okay, maybe you didn't experience that as a child. What about when you got into a relationship and the person began to put you down? That's speaking death into your spirit. Someone tells you that you ain't nothing, never gonna be nothing, over and over again. Or, I don't know why you're going back to school. It's not like it's going to help anything. You know, you too old. You know, you didn't graduate from high school. Why are you going? It's pointless. It's worthless. But I'm here to tell you that we have to come up against that and begin to speak life. Yeah. Yes, I said life. Yeah. We are our own worst enemy. We don't need anyone to put us down because we'll do that our own self. We'll do it for them. But as I said, we need to speak life. When we speak life into our situations, meaning the promises of God and our adversities, we are reaffirming our faith, encouraging ourselves, and we are dismantling our fears. God has made each one of us a promise. Whether the promise was related to a new job, a restored marriage, a new home, starting a new business, fixing your finances, or even saving your lost child. His promises are specially designed for you and for me. In order to receive his promises, we have to believe in him. We have to have the faith to believe that God is going to do what he said. So we need to speak life to the promises of God. We can't go around seeing the glass as half empty. We must see it as half full. When we do this, it changes our perspective. So instead of saying, Lord, my marriage is over, or keeping it in the back of your mind, the Lord has already promised you that it will be restored. Or, Lord, my child is jacked up. He's already promised you that he would save and deliver your child. Speak life into your situation. You can say, Lord, my marriage is healed and restored. That's exercising your faith. You can say, Lord, my child is back home after being lost to the street. That's exercising or reaffirming your faith. And when that child comes back home, we have to do like the father in the story of the prodigal son, Luke 15, and celebrate that child and accept him with open arms. And he turned to his servants and said, get the ring, the best bed of cash, and we're going to celebrate and have a feast for that child. So we have to learn how to celebrate our children. Yeah. That's also holding God in remembrance of his promises. The one thing that we must do is wait on God. When he gives us the promise, the outcome is not always immediate. So we must exercise patience, faith, and trust while we're waiting for our promise. Sarah and Abraham are prime examples of God's promise. In Genesis 15, God told Abraham, able at the time, that he would have an heir that would come from his body. He also told him that his offspring would be as numerous as the stars in the sky. Because he and Sarah did not have a child yet, Sarah went and gave her maidservant, her handservant, Hagar, to Abraham as his wife. That's like a barren woman trusting God that he's going to open up her womb and bless her and her husband with a child. But he's like, I ain't going to have. And they go forth. And, they start scouting out people. You know what? You could be my best friend. Let her, carry my child. But that's not what God intended. He promised that he would have a child from his own body, not from that of his womb. He laid with her, and she conceived a son. However, the covenant was not for that child, Israel. In chapter 17, God told Abraham that he and Sarah would bore a son and to name him Isaac. Abraham laughed because he was 100 and Sarah was 90. I don't know, I think I laughed too. This is later repeated in chapter 18 by an angel of the Lord. And Sarah laughed when she heard this because she was up in age. But God was faithful to his promise. And Sarah bore a son the following year, and God's covenant was established with him. We have to understand that God is faithful, that God is a faithful God. He is not a man that he should lie. Speak life to the promises of God. When we find our back up against the wall, we must take authority or command over the situation and begin to speak our way through it. When we speak life throughout our situation, we are encouraging ourselves through God. I don't know about you, but sometimes things get a little rough.